Okay, cool. Let's get started. So, H2O AI. H2O AI basically is a global leader in the enterprise AI realm. H2O AI does both generative and predictive AI, and they have an entire platform which we are able to install in on-prem environments, in clouds, and in air-gapped environments. H2O AI is a leader in the Gaia benchmark, and we deliver an entire platform. So our technology stack. Basically, our entire platform runs entirely on Kubernetes. Everything runs in EKS in the cloud, and we rely very heavily on EBS storage. The reason we rely on EBS storage is when we train data and we train our models, we need very fast and good storage for our AI engines. The problem that we had with H2O AI with EBS storage is that we had a lot of unutilized storage. Basically, we were storing over 2 petabytes of storage, and it was growing very quickly. And the issue is that we couldn't scale very good. We couldn't scale down. We couldn't be more efficient with our cloud storage. And we ended up wasting a lot of storage in the cloud. We looked at this issue and we tried to find several solutions. Most of the solutions that we found out there were solutions that required us to migrate data from old EBS storages to new EBS volumes. So basically, it was a very hard and painful process. And that was the issue that we had previously before we started working with Datafy.
Thanks, Ophir. So when we met H2O initially, we were very pleasantly surprised because the problems that Ophir has described are exactly what we set out to solve with Datafy. Large EBS capacity, over-provisioned and underutilized. Datafy is an autonomous storage solution which manages cloud storage automatically, autonomously for AWS customers. You can deploy it on the fly, and it will adjust your volume capacity in EBS automatically, auto-scaling it based on your needs. If you fill it up, it will grow automatically, and if you delete files, it will shrink it automatically. It has no impact to performance. You can deploy it at real time. With Datafy, you get dynamic auto-scaling. So the solution is completely autonomous, and it overcomes those EBS limitations that Ophir mentioned that prevented him from being efficient in his consumption of EBS. It allows to basically endlessly scale your EBS capacity, both up and down, as customers fill up data and delete and enter these cycles of growth and deletion. Whenever you use Datafy, there's no downtime at all. We've always thought that customers will not tolerate introducing downtime to their applications when they want to improve their storage utilization. You can install it or uninstall it without any impact to applications, to your file system, or to any other thing running in your stack. Furthermore, there's no changes needed to your stack. It integrates seamlessly with Kubernetes, with CloudFormation, with Terraform, and it supports any Linux operating system and any tech stack you're running on top of it. So you don't need to inform your customers, oh, we're going to take downtime because we want to do something with the storage. The whole thing is done automatically and seamlessly without any intervention required by you or your application owners. So how does Datafy work? It is based on a low-level agent that you install on your EC2 servers or your Kubernetes clusters. This agent changes the destination volumes of EBS automatically and dynamically without impacting your applications. In addition to that, we have a SaaS control plane or a backend that runs in our VPC. It monitors the agents and it gives them commands like growing volumes or shrinking volumes. It also provides analytics and shows you what exactly is going on with your EBS deployments, how much storage you're consuming, how efficient are you, how much efficiency Datafy has brought to the table. Finally, we've spent a lot of effort into integrating with infrastructure as code environments, both Kubernetes and other infrastructure as code environments, This allows you to use the product without making any modifications, and it completely integrates into the life cycle of CI/CD.
So along the way, when we started working with Datafy, we had a couple of issues and we had a couple of challenges that we needed to solve in order to streamline the entire process and make sure everything works with our existing platform. The first thing that we had a challenge with was Bottleneck. So together with Datafy, we worked together and we made sure that the Datafy agent basically runs on our existing Bottleneck infrastructure that we have in EKS. The second thing that the second challenge that we had was security. Basically, as an AI platform, we host our customers' data. And we wanted to make sure that working with Datafy, everything is just as secure as it was previously. And the main part here was with Datafy that no data leaves the actual cluster. No data leaves the EKS, and the SaaS that Sivan talked about is only management. So we keep the same level of security and same level of reliability for our customers' data. The last challenge that we had with working with Datafy is basically keeping our existing backup implementation. So we have a solution that we work with Valero to make backups and to backup PVs. And together with Datafy, we made sure that we're able to continue using the existing solution with Valero and seamlessly continue to back up and restore data volumes without any issues.
So we thought it would be nice to show you an example of the kind of optimization that Datafy brought to H2O. On the left side chart, you see the capacity utilization. Customers typically have low capacity utilization, especially on EBS. They tend to over-provision because they're afraid they're going to run out of space, and they're afraid they're not going to be able to grow in time. So on the left side, the beginning of the chart, you see that the capacity utilization is just 25%, which means that they're overpaying 4x compared to if they could have paid based on utilization rather than capacity reservation, as EBS charges them today. As they deploy Datafy on more and more environments, the chart for utilization keeps growing and improving to the point where it stabilizes around 80%, which is our natural place where we want to hold the buffer. We don't want to make it hit 100% because that means we're running out of space. So it's quite typical to stabilize around 80%, which is what we consider success criteria. On the right chart, you can see what's happening in terms of the capacity itself. When we started out, their total capacity footprint was about 2 petabytes. But in terms of how much data they've actually written to it, the green line shows you only half a petabyte written. That's why we say the capacity utilization is 25%. As time progressed with the utilization of Datafy, what you're seeing is really interesting. Even though the green line grows a bit because they wrote more data, the blue line, which is how much capacity they were paying for in EBS, keeps dropping because of the Datafy auto-scale capacity. Along time, the blue line almost reaches the green line, which is the 80% utilization that we were targeting. The savings for H2O are not paying for 2 petabytes, but actually paying for less than 1 petabyte. And that's significant savings, and this is applicable for just about any EBS customer out there.
So basically the result of our work with Datafy was that we were able to deploy the Datafy solution across all our clusters. The Datafy solution is deployed with our existing tools and solutions, meaning that we still use Terraform to deploy Datafy. It's integrated into our GitOps process, and we didn't have to make any substantial changes to our infrastructure to get Datafy to work. Of course, we have a very big cost saving, which Sivan just showed. We were able to take up our utilization and reduce our cost. While we're doing that, we were also able to give better performance to our customers. So basically, the Datafy solution was able to reduce our cost for EBS and also increase our performance for our EBS volumes. And I think that the most important part of this solution, the Datafy solution, is that there was zero downtime. So once the Datafy agent was deployed and was in all the clusters in a read-only mode, we just had to flip a switch, and basically from that point on, it started doing its magic, basically reducing our storage without any manual intervention that we had to do. So just, again, on a flip of a switch, we started seeing reduced storage cost. Thank you.
Thank you very much.